quite a big part of your Leaving Cert will be question with function. So what I want to have a look at here is how to approach, how to understand question with function. Because very often we are bogged down in details when we actually should have a big picture. Because if we have a big picture, all question will be really about the same things. So let's have a look at this example. Danny drives a car. The fuel consumption F of Danny's cars depends on the speed of the car C. For one particular journey, F is given by, and then we have an equation of a function, where F is in liters per 10,000 kilometers and C is in kilometers per hour, with C being between values 40 and 120. Okay, it's a function with a question. First thing we have to understand about every function that this is between the two axes, x and y. Doesn't matter what letters they will be in this particular question, that's basically what it is. So in our question, we understand that this description means the name of the function is f, and independent variable is c. That means that this is my f and this is my c in this particular question. I could write this function in a way we are kind of more familiar with, isn't it? Now, it is a good thing to understand what kind of function you are dealing with. What kind of function is that? Because it has c to the power of 2, and c, it is a quadratic function. Well, if it is a quadratic function, what graph will it have? It will have a parable. Now, the parable in quadratic function can go down or it can go up. How do I know when it happens? That depending on the value that stand beside my x to the power of 2, in this case, c to the power of 2. So this value here is positive, therefore the function will go up. If that value here was negative, therefore the graph of the function will go down. So that's kind of the first idea. So let's see what x and y represent here. So I have x and y. So the fuel consumption F. So that means that's my y, fuel consumption. Why is it good to identify what in particular question y and x represent? Because very often the question will be looking for value of y. Oh, let's say that. So in your function question, very often it is about those two letters, right? Because function is about two letters. Yes, there could be other aspects, but majority of your question will involve that. And for example, they will give you value of x and therefore they will be looking for value of y. Or they will be asking you for value of x, therefore give you value of y. But very often, instead of saying the value of y is or y equal, they will say fuel consumption is. Okay, that's the reason it's good to identify what is the value of x and y. So y represent fuel consumption. What about x? And in this case, c depends on the speed of the car. So that is speed. So that's what x stands for. So again, they could ask you what is the speed when fuel consumption is. Or the other way around, what is fuel consumption when the speed is? Okay, so that means that I can rewrite my function in a little bit different manner because we have to understand how those values play in our function. So this is the value of y, so that is fuel consumption. And that equal 0.05 multiply, and that is what? Speed to the power of 2 minus 8.5, again multiply by speed, and then plus 800. Now let's look at something else, because fuel consumption will be expressed as a number of what? So we can as well consider, yeah, let's bring it down. We can consider as well that. So here we are told that fuel consumption is expressed in liters per 10,000 kilometer. So that means in this place, I'm going to put a number of liters per, that means divided 10,000 kilometers. So that's what will go in this place. And then when we are looking at C is what? Kilometers per hour. So speed will be given to us or asked or expressed as a number of what? Kilometers per hour. In this case here is to the power of 2 minus 8.5. Multiply again. Here we will put a number that represents kilometers per hour and then plus 800. So when we look at it that way, so that's our function. That's one way of thinking it. That's the other way of thinking it. And that's the third way of thinking it. So once we understand all those aspects, it makes easier for us to understand actually what the question is looking for us. And don't forget, majority of the time is about these. If I identify what X and Y represent, it's easier for me to comprehend. Now, what other things will be common in the question that has to do with function? So finding the value of X and Y, that's one. Then as well what you can expect, so that's one. The other thing you can expect sometimes with the question with the function, or pretty often, will be what? Table and graph. Now, if that is given in your Leaving Cert, that's fantastic. That's like a gift. Is that easy? What else can come? So for the 6th year, so both of those points, point and 1, point 2, 5th year, you will be looking at this stuff, and a part of the question that contain those two items can be used in your class exam. Part 3 that will come in the 6th year, that will be what? Calculus. So that will be another thing that we can expect in function with the question. And the last part following from calculus is the reversal of that, which is integration. So this is usually the stuff you're going to see in your question with the function. Hopefully, if you apply that, have a go at it, take a question with the function, see whether you can identify all those items, and therefore see whether it will be easier for you to answer the question.